Hi guys, how are you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Now today we're going to discuss again the new EVH 5150 Iconic. Before I do that, if you are in a band or you are releasing any of your own music, please check out the link down in the description. It's a link for DistroKid. It's an affiliate link, and by clicking on that link and using it you get 7% off your sign up fee. There's another link down there, an affiliate link as well, as CELESTION Impulse Response link. I do not get masses of money from these links, but they do help and they do make a really small contribution to the channel, and it means that gear that I actually buy, that's not sent to me to review and actually buy myself, basically that's where the money comes from to do that. So that's how it helps the channel. Also, the other way you can help me out is by sticking a thumbs up, stick a thumbs down if you want, I don't really care, it all adds up. Put a comment below, but mainly subscribe to the channel for future content if you like the content. So moving on, the other week I think it was, I put up a video about the EVH Iconic. I don't usually put up videos like this that are just discussions, but because there's no gear at the moment for me to show you, rather than hash together a crappy review or crappy demo, I thought I would just make some discussion style videos, and they've gone down really well. Now the 5150 Iconic video I did the other week was basically me having a rant because guys were saying it's made in China, it's got 2 preamp tubes, it's going to be garbage, you know, blah blah blah, which was just seemed ridiculous, and it got that immense, this thing. It was happening so much and I was seeing it that much that in the end I had to just say something because it was getting on my nerves, because anybody who judges a piece of gear they've never used, never played through, never even heard is an idiot, and that's it. And the problem is that there are kind of younger, new, impressionable guitarists listening to these garbage talkers and prejudging an amp or taking their word for it when really nobody knows whether it's going to be any good or not. Every EVH amp that I've owned, and guitar actually for that matter, I've really liked, I've really enjoyed. Even the Peaveys, I absolutely love them. So Eddie's not really done anything that I've ever got my hands on under his name that I've not liked. So that's why I've put my money where my mouth is and I've ordered one. What I want to discuss in this video mainly is that I got a comment from a guy, and I can't remember his name, sorry about that if you're watching, but he was kind of weighing up whether to buy a DSL, a Marshall DSL, or wait for the EVH Iconic. And I understand why he was doing that. It's basically because of the same price point. Marshall, their cheaper stuff is made in Vietnam, the EVH stuff is made in China. Same difference really. I have the DSL 1 and it's fine, it's still going strong, it's upstairs, I use it as a practice amp if I'm upstairs. Now I understand why this guy was kind of like, oh, should I go with the DSL, should I go with the EVH? Obviously there'll be 2 different tones. I'm assuming, even though I've not heard it, that it will be in the same ballpark as the other EVH predecessors. But the DSL obviously is a Marshall tone, it's mid-heavy, unless you click that switch on it, which is it called a mid shift or something, I'm not quite sure what it's called. Now for me that mid switch on the DSL is a bit of a funny option, because you either have quite a lot of glassy mids, probably too much, or when you press that button it takes them all out and it takes too much out. That switch needs to be in between for me personally to get where I would like it to be. But it's still a great head. The Marshall DSL always will be a great head. I used one for years with a Boss OD SD1 in front of it, and it was absolutely fantastic. I always cut through the mix because, like I said, the mids are that pronounced, typical Marshall mids. So yeah, I get why this guy was kind of weighing up the options. They're both in the same price point. And while I was thinking about his comment, I talked to him for a while, and I messaged him back in the comments like I try and do to everybody. And then I started just thinking, I think I was eating my breakfast or something, and I started thinking, hang on a minute, which amps actually would the EVH 5150 Iconic kind of be aimed at competing with, I guess? Because when you market an amp, you need to know what the competition is, I suppose. And I started thinking, hang on a minute, what about the Peavey Invective? Now, these Invectives, I don't know anybody with one, and I've not heard one, but the Invective is basically the Peavey 6505 Plus, which is one of the best amps that I've ever played through for myself personally. One of. I really like it and I used it for many years. It's fatter than the regular 6505, and the Invective is a 6505 Plus apparently, but made in China, and has some extra specs on it, like a noise gate and a record out and emulated out. Now the Invective that falls in the price point of the 5150 Iconic is only 20 watts, whereas the EVH Iconic is an 80 watt head, and then you can power down to a lower power mode, but we don't actually know how low that will be. The other EVH is a quarter power, that may be quarter power as well, but it's a bit hit and miss is the power down switch. For instance, on the LBX Stealth, the quarter power switch becomes very usable at bedroom volume, whereas the LBX1, it's still loud as hell at bedroom volume. So there is a bit of change there, so it'll be interesting to see what that switch does. But like I say, both amps have similar specs. They both have emulated record outs. So does the DSL. One thing I will say is the Marshall DSL emulated out is pretty bad. It's outdated and it's pretty useless. It's not too bad if you put an IR on it, or once you put an IR on it, but the idea of that emulated out is that you don't have to put an IR on it. So I wouldn't use the DSL for that specific spec, that specific feature. Now the Invective has a record out and emulated out, and it has quite a lot of features on it. It has a noise gate, it has a boost. What we have to look at here is that the Iconic 5150 also has a boost that I think is just mainly a volume boost actually. I don't think it'll add much gain. And it also has a noise gate as well, which are two features which people were waiting for to turn up on the 5153. I know a lot of guys there wanted those features built into their 5153. Now this is interesting because the Invective does not have a reverb, I don't believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I don't think it does. I'm having to go off memory here. And the EVH 5150 Iconic does have a reverb, so that's kind of competition there. Do you need a reverb? Don't you need a reverb? I really like a reverb built into the head harness. It's one of the few effects I use, and if I have a reverb built into my amp, then I don't need to put anything in the loop really, other than a gate which I can just throw around the back of the amp. So yeah, it's really useful for me having the reverb. Now the other thing which is really important is the price points here. So they're both made in China, even though when the Peavey Invective came out and was made in China, nobody kicked up a fuss at all. But when the EVH Iconic came out, everybody was up in arms. Not everybody, but some people, about it being made in China. So that's a bit weird for a start. But yeah, both made in China and both affordable amps. Now I looked online before I did this video, and the Peavey Invective 20 watt weighs in around the £699 mark, and the 5150 you can get for £649. Now what you have to realise is that the EVH obviously is new. It's new out. You've got that new, I've got something new that not many people have kind of feel when you get it. The Peavey Invective has been out for a long time now, which is like a couple of years or something, and I've not seen one anywhere. I don't know what's happened to it. I don't know where they are, but I don't know anybody with one or anything. So that may have not many people have this, it's new feel to it as well. Don't know, but it isn't new really. It's been out a while, so we will have to see what happens with both these amps. But I am expecting the EVH 5150 Iconic to kill anything else sales wise that is in that same price bracket. The Invective obviously is 20 watts and the 5150 is 80 watts, so that's quite a massive difference. But the difference, which is probably important to most people, is that when you've got bigger, fatter tubes and more power at your disposal, you do get a thicker, more three-dimensional, fatter, chunkier tone sound, and that's particularly useful if you're using it for metal or really heavy rock. You know, the palm muting has more thickness and chunk to it. It's a rounder, smoother, thicker tone rather than a more MIDI pokey attacking tone on the lower watt amps. So yeah, it swings and roundabouts, I guess, for want of a better term, but they are your three main amps that I believe fall in that price bracket. And if I was looking myself to buy a new amp in that price bracket, for sure those three amps would be in there, and those would be the three amps that I would consider in the world of high gain. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think that the 5150 is a direct kind of amp created to make competition in that price bracket and dominate that price bracket? Because I think as far as 50 watt heads go, from the people I talk to and things that I see online, I don't know what sales are, but the 50 watt mini EVH heads have kind of dominated the 50 watt market for such a long time. And the reason I jumped on the amp is because obviously it's 50 watts, and the size and the weight of the actual amp and the size of the tone for the size of it just made sense to me. Gigging with that and carrying that around after my Peavey 6505 Plus was so much easier, and it freed up room in my car, it saved my back, I could carry it in one hand. You know, the Peavey 6505 you can carry in one hand, but getting through a doorway or up some stairs with that in one hand and a case in the other is hard work. So yeah, that's why I went over to the mini, and I think in the 50 watt price bracket the mini kind of does dominate, simply because one, it sounds big enough and good enough to play live or play anywhere, and also it has this compact size to it that really is a win situation. Obviously looking behind me, the driftwood is a similar size, also a similar weight, but the price bracket is very different. So yeah, it's interesting to see what you guys think, whether you think that the Iconic series was brought out directly to dominate that price bracket, you know, to land in the DSL and the Invective territory and kind of dominate there like they have there in the 50 watt slot. So it will be interesting to see what you guys think. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you own an Invective 20 watt, please let me know in the comments what you think of it. One thing I will say is the other Invective, the big one, is like £1,999 in the UK. I don't know where that's built, whether that's built in China or not. I hope to God that it's not built in China for £2,000 worth of pounds. It could be, but I'm assuming that's still made in the USA. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you all soon. Hopefully I will get some news soon on when my EVH Iconic 5150 series head is going to arrive. I'm expecting it late December, early January, but that is a total guess. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all soon.